Hi, this is Anna Imagination with a Healing Garden. Welcome to Philosophical Coffee. If you are new to my channel, this is my daily healing morning show that covers literally everything healing in about 90 minutes. I start off usually with a 45-minute topic, covering usually an array of topics that dive deep into the subconscious mind and mental health, which I refer to as logical and story health. And then midway through, we take time out to do meditation, gratitude journaling, positive affirmations, and reconditioning of the RAS in your subconscious mind. That's your reticular articulation system. And then we, from there, focus on a more detailed topic. Today, I want to talk about obsession. More specifically, I want to talk about the process and technique that I use to get into my brain, to get into any brain. It is almost like a camera view is how I view a subconscious mind. And I use a visualization process that allows me to lay out the map of the subconscious mind so I can easily see it. And the maps of my subconscious mind came from my alters when I had multiple personality disorder. I took turns with us all switching in our subconscious mind when we switched to see what was the same and what was the difference between all of us. And in so doing, I was able to figure out, basically, I mapped out all the similarities between our different minds, and then I located all the differences. Now, here's why this is important, is because only two of my alters had mental illness. Joanna had the majority of the mental illness, and Imagination and Berrigan had none. And Kalan had two. So we were able to go from each mind and see how the subconscious mind changed with mental illness, knowing which one of them had which. So imagination would show us, well, we'd be in imagination's mind and we could see an entire subconscious mind completely clean of all mental illness. And then we would switch into Joanna's subconscious mind and we could see where the mental illnesses would all come in. And it's in the cognitive core. So then I mapped it all out, laying out the cognitive core, the 5 levels of the subconscious mind. And it's a visualization that I use. And when I talk to people, when I interview people, I get a lot of confirmation that, and this is interesting, there is uniqueness, which is identity. There is the similarity, which is common denominator. That's something that everybody has. And then there is a variation of the common denominators. So for the common denominator, it's 5 levels of the subconscious mind. Everyone I've spoken to breaks it down of, they tell me what their subconscious mind looks like, and everyone describes the same setup. That there's what I like to call level 1, where all those internal conversations are happening. Level 2 is where the memory maze, the mind maze is. This is where it gets interesting. Everyone has a level 2, but for me, it's a labyrinth. It is a labyrinth filled with doors, and behind every door is an event with a memory. And if the event is recent, then the door is open. If the event is not recent, but it's still accessible, the door is closed, the door is unlocked. If it's an old memory or a trauma memory, the door is further down in the labyrinth and the door is locked. And if it was such a bad trauma memory, then the door is completely not visible. You can't even see that there's a door there. It's overgrown with ivy. And everyone I spoke to confirmed that they have some sort of a memory maze inside of their subconscious mind, which was really interesting. But then the 3rd level is where identity lives. And identity is where the center self lives. Literally, if you think about the subconscious mind revolving around the center self, that's a really good analogy. Everyone has an inner child. The identity is the inner child. And in addition to that, you could almost say that identity has a brother, which is the fear system. And the fear system is also a child. And in my mind, my identity is a girl and my fear system is a boy. And they're both children. My fear system specifically is Jerry Smith from Rick and Morty, because they act exactly the same. And Then in the fourth level of the subconscious mind, this is what I refer to as the proverbial closet in the subconscious mind, where the subconscious mind stores all of its skeletons. This is all the shit that the subconscious mind doesn't want you to know about, so it puts it there. And this is where I lived as me, as the core me to my entire unit. This is where the subconscious mind put me for 32 years. So I lived in this on the fourth level of the subconscious mind for 32 years. And then the fifth level is basically where I'm going to say it's all of the alternate identities. It's all the dark, horrible secrets of really fucking evil people. These are the people who have been so traumatized that they love their evil and it makes them happy. And in order to function on a day-to-day basis so they can live alternate lives, they put their really fucking horrific deeds down in the fifth level of the subconscious mind so that not even their subconscious mind can give a Freudian slip. And this is a really good idea. A Freudian slip comes from the fourth level of the subconscious mind. It is when somebody shakes loose something from the fourth level and it surfaces and it breaks out of that fourth level. In the fifth level, that doesn't happen. It is so buried deep that Freudian slips cannot occur from the fifth level. That's how buried in the subconscious mind it is. And we see that a lot from people who are pedophiles, serial killers. These are the people with the really fucking dark, dark shit. And they enjoy it. And that's where they put it. So whenever I'm doing one of these visualizations, I will set myself a goal. And yesterday, my goal was, what was my goal yesterday? I was having a discussion with myself about my partner, not my partner, but my entire romantic life. I am currently in the first perspective of the U of I. The U of I is all about the romantic partner. And I'm in the first perspective. So I'm at that stage where I'm ready to be like, okay, let's go through the process. Now, it's not pursuing and finding a partner. That is not what the U of I is. It is building up the same 12 perspectives that you have with somebody else. So I've already completed the first 12 perspectives. I've already got them all set. And I'm going, all right, I have a solid defined self. Now let's take a solid defined self. Let's find somebody else. Let's put them together and let's build something together with two solid defined selves. And the first perspective in general, this is with or without it being the U of I or the I of I, is self-regulation. It is really the ability to sit down and discipline your emotions enough to switch over to problem solving. And problem solving consists of three elements: logic, imagination, and emotions. And these are this is the compass when it comes to problem solving. And it requires logic and imagination to problem solve. Without that, you are not going to problem solve. So the problem solving is basically used to overcome your emotions, to quell your fears, and from there to address the situation, whether it be learning, whether it be finding a solution, coming up with a plan. These are literally, this is assessment. You know, it's funny because this is not something we're taught in school. And I'm looking at it going, why the fuck isn't this taught in school? So this is basic problem solving. It's learning, it's realizing, it's identifying that there is a problem. And then it's deciding to just say the words, what am I going to do about it, as opposed to getting emotional. 99% of the people on the planet just get emotional. And almost no one problem solves. And the reason why is because they are lacking the first ethic, which is the ability to sit back, assess, and decide, okay, where is it I want to go with this? So I'm basically, I cured on the 16th of December, I cured narcissism. I came up with a narcissist cure, and I tried it on myself. It worked. I tried it on 3 people. It worked. I tried it on 10 people. It worked. Everyone came back, and I was like, whoa, I got something here. This is awesome. And I've been going through the stages of clearing out the narcissism. So in addition to this problem solving and the first perspective of the U of I, I'm also clearing out this narcissism from inside of me. And I've noticed that there are, I should have been documenting it, the stages of narcissism removal. Um, First, it was the shock. I mean, it went through the stages of grief. So it was the shock, the awe, the disbelief, and then it was the severe grief. And then there was a solemn, somber, empty. And then after that, it was feeling the detachment sever. That was nice. So there was a detachment where the love and the narcissism separated. And then there was a drop of priority, a priority shift, so that the self separated from narcissism. And then I was refiguring my life where I could see where each and every part of the narcissism and the love were two separate things. And then from there, and this is where I am today, it was, or yesterday, this is where I was yesterday, is I realized that I wanted a partner. I wanted, well, what I refer to as my king. And I took a step back and I laid out all the qualities that I want and desire in my partner. And this is something we do with the self at stage 1, is defining your qualities. So it is as if, it is identical to, you're defining your qualities when it's the I of I, but with the U of I, it's defining their qualities. It's asking the question, what qualities do you want them to have? And I realized that the qualities I wanted my king to have were literally the same qualities I have, but they're my favorite qualities about me. So I came up with a list of 5, 10, 15, 30 things that I specifically wanted from me that my partner would have. And the motive and the purpose was huge. The motive and the purpose of this was, I want to share my kingdom. Bottom line, I want to share my kingdom. And I noticed that sharing was a big part of it. So I want to reflect on sharing. And in order to get to this point, I had to really navigate through my brain. So I took a step back and I did my scope thing where I zoomed in and I went, all right, this brain belongs to me. My mind belongs to me. And I could see where everything was separated. It was my identity versus the narcissism. The narcissism is clearing out. I'm regaining my full self and identity. And I see this one piece right at the dead center, and I get closer to that. And it's like a zooming in with a camera. And when I get right up into it, I see a chessboard. Like there's one last little thread linking me to this person who I've been with for 2 years. And I'm going, what the fuck is this the thing? Like, is it a thread? It's a logic line. It's just a lot. It's a bit of logic. And I zoom in closer to this logic, like, and this is very much a visualization process, to try and figure out how to break it. And the reason why I want to break it is because I want to start at ground zero. If he's the one, well, then he'll come back. So I'm sitting here trying to figure out how to break it. And I'm analyzing the thread. And it's not as easy as just cutting it. So I realized it's all logic. This is all linked to my logic health. More specifically, this is linked to the logical fallacy. This is linked to my belief system. So I asked the really hard questions. What do I lose if I lose this person? Big question. What do I get from this person? What does this person mean? And I realized that the people in our lives are synonymous with certain things. That if you don't have this person X, you're not going to have A, B, C. Well, this is what I refer to as an emotional prosthetic. So I did the hard part where I sat down and I went through all of my notes. I asked, what is he synonymous with? I found the 3 things that he is synonymous with. And it was a matter of convincing myself that I did not need him to have these things. I felt it sever. I felt that starting to shift. I felt more of the narcissism shift and get out of me. And then I saw a chessboard. And I realized I was looking at one of the most complex chess games I've ever played with myself. It is literally like me versus myself, and we are playing chess together. And I have to outlogicize this version of myself. But this version of myself is so protective of him, so protective to make sure he stays inside of my head. And I'm looking at it going, why do you need to protect him so much? And that's where the conversation ends. Is I'm trying to figure out why this part of my mind feels the need to protect and preserve this man this much. It was very interesting. So then I went to bed thinking about it. And this morning I woke up and I noticed obsessive thoughts. Obsessive thoughts are very much a part of narcissism. It's fucking annoying. And I'm asking the question this morning, why do we have obsessive thoughts? It's as if the tape is playing in my mind to ensure that the person stays in the forefront or else, which I find very interesting. I'm going, why? Why do I have these obsessive thoughts? Because at this point, I can feel the amount of energy it's draining from me. I can feel the space in my head it's taking up, which is really annoying me, and it's distracting. So what's going on with these obsessive thoughts? And obsession is also linked to ruminating, to ruminating. And I've done this research before, and all the information online talks about all the fucking symptoms, which is not at all. I want to know the cause of it. I want to know the catalyst. I want to know what defense the fear system is putting in place, which tells me it's fear. Oh, it's 100% fear. So my question is, what is my fear system afraid of? And this is it. When you know the 6 parts of your mental system, as soon as you figure out who's put what where, you know what the problem is. So here's how this works. You have 6 parts to your mental health. Welcome to the other 6 parts of you. We are all familiar with the conscious awareness, otherwise known as the ego. Hi, this is my ego waving at your ego. Our egos are what sees, what smells, what hears, what tastes, what talks. This is our conscious awareness. It's our ego. This is about it. This is all we know about. And then there's the subconscious mind. Now, the subconscious mind has 5 parts to it. The 5 parts of your subconscious mind, write this down, or you can go on my website if you want to look this up later, is identity. Identity is fucking huge. She is amazing. The other one is your defense system. And with your defense system, you have your fear system. With your fear system, you have what I like to call the subconscious mind. I know it's redundant and that's not the right name for him, but we're going to call him the subconscious mind. And then we have intuition. So I'm going to show you how each one of these works. Your life titans are your identity and your subconscious mind and your ego. And the reason why the life titans are different is because they have agendas. Your ego's agenda is to pursue happiness. We know that one. Our whole life, our whole focus in life, the agenda of life is to get happy, to pursue happiness. Identity's agenda is to define the self. She wants to try everything and she wants to get everything. She wants to know who she is. So all she does, mine's a girl, yours might be a girl or a boy or a luminal. The whole purpose of identity is to define who and what she is, what she loves. So to define the self, she has to go on adventures and play. Literally, that is her life. She's fucking awesome. Mine is 5. So the subconscious mind has a different agenda. It is to keep the unit safe. And that's it. So, the purpose of the ego is to manage this crazy thing. That is the purpose of the ego. Our job, you, at me, all of us, is supposed to manage this team. Imagine we are on a ship and the ego is the captain. The identity is part of the navigational system. The intuition is part of the navigation system. The defense is your security department. Your fear system is the backup security system. And the subconscious mind is the engine. It's the engine room. And your job as the ego is supposed to manage everybody to make sure the defense system stays up and running. The identity is supposed to stay putting the navigation in to make sure we all know where we're going and why. Intuition is telling us what the heading is and making sure that the compass is aligned and we're going where we need to go. If any danger comes along, if we run into pirates, the defense system is supposed to jump in with our boundaries and take over and say, back the fuck off. And that doesn't happen in a lot of cases. And the subconscious mind is supposed to be down there processing all of our cognitive core and making sure that our logical health and our story health creates the proper perspective. That's all the subconscious mind is supposed to be doing. But the way we are trained as children is to not have a defense system. So in most cases, and I do mean in most cases, our parents take away our defense system. When our defense system goes away, identity has no one to protect her. So the subconscious mind is trying to process information now without a defense system protecting it. And as a result, the fear system kicks in. The fear system is stupid and illogical and archaic, and it runs over and it creates chaos. It says, I'm going to alter the cognitive core, to alter the behavior to keep you safe. And then you get behavioral defenses. Behavioral defenses are what a lot of people refer to as mental illnesses. But that implies that we're sick. We're not fucking sick. We're traumatized. There's a difference. So this is the mess that we all have in our heads. And if you don't know how to organize it, if you're not aware of the 6 parts of your mental system, if you're not conscious about any of this, your ego is usually curled up in the center or in the corner of the ship, sucking its thumb, rocking back and forth. That's what most of our egos are doing. While the subconscious mind and the fear system run the show, and identity to make sure that the ship, the 6th part of the mental system, is compatible with the cognitive core and the new behavioral defenses, identity gets in the way. So the subconscious mind will take identity, cram her into the 4th level of the subconscious mind to say, get the fuck out of the way, because now I've got behavioral defenses that have to take place. Behavioral defenses are the conforming clothes that you wear to please your parents. It's the 9-to-5 job that you get that you're told that you have to have, even though you want to be a business owner. It's the language that you watch to make sure that you don't swear in inappropriate places. That is your behavioral defense. It's making sure that you are nice and obedient and you follow all the fucking rules to make sure everybody else is happy and pleased with you. These are your behavioral defenses. Now, identity is gagged, bound, and in the 4th level of your subconscious mind, completely dead to you because you are in the corner of the ship sucking your thumb. This is the chaos of the mind. To get all this straightened out, you have to use your emotions. Your emotions tell you precisely what's going on with everybody and what needs to be done. But people don't like their emotions because they hurt. They hurt because you've lost your identity. Identity is the emotion love. That's all she is. She's pure love. I mean, pure fucking love. The girl is fucking gorgeous. She is literally the epitome of self-love. Love is a buffer emotion. So when you take the emotion love and you combine it with any other emotion, it softens it. So without love, when you feel fear, you're going to feel like a level 10 fear. Without love, you feel pain, you're going to feel like a level 10 pain. But put love into it and it gets down to a 2. But you don't have love because you've crammed identity down into the subconscious mind. So it's on the 4th level. So you're not using identity. You don't know who you are. This is why it's really important to know who you are. Because the more you know who you are, the more you've identified what you love and you've surrounded yourself with what you love, the more you love you. The more you love you, the less the pain and the emotions hurt. How much you hurt is 100% in ratio to how little you know yourself. Bottom line. It's like one of my favorite metrics that I use when I work with people is they tell me how much pain they're in and I'm going, oh, that's how little you love yourself. good to know where I need to start. It's literally the best metric. And when you have a day where you feel turmoil, well, that's because you don't love yourself. You've undefined yourself. You need to go back to your core, spend some time alone with yourself and figure yourself out. You're having an existential crisis. That's why you're in pain. And then your defense system needs to come back up and running. Your defense system is the core to keeping your identity safe, functioning, operative. The best thing about the defense system, it is your proof of concept. Without your defense system, you have no proof of concept. A lot of people lose their defense system by the time they're 2 and 3 years old. So all of a sudden, you don't think you can save yourself because your defense system is down. You don't think you can. You don't think you have resources. You are unable. You are an invalid. You can't. You need other people. Now you feel dependent upon the narcissist who abuses you because your defense system is down, because you don't have proof of concept. You get proof of concept when you're 1, 2, 3, 4 years old. As simple as, I'm going to quell my emotions and learn how to stand. And this is the lesson that every one of us has to learn, which is why some children are delayed in walking and talking, is because their over-enabling narcissistic mother does it for them because she doesn't think you can save yourself. It all keeps coming down to you can't save yourself. 100% of all of this is all about you not having that proof of concept. You can't save yourself. So when it comes to fear, that right there means you need to soothe your emotions and you need to prove to yourself that you can. That's it. That is it. Anytime you feel afraid, you need to soothe your emotions, you soothe your fear, and then you need to use your defense system to get proof of concept. That's all that fear is. Fear is an undefined self. And the more you don't know who you are, the more you lack proof of concept, the more fear you're going to have. Fear of the unknown, that's you not knowing who you are in an unknown situation. That's you not knowing that you can survive the dark, the big scary dog, the unknown adventure in your backyard. All of these things is proof of concept that you can. We're back to you can't save yourself. You can save yourself. Which you get with your defense system with proof of concept. So when you have fear, it's because you have failed to soothe yourself and you are lacking their defense system, your proof of concept, which means you need to calm yourself down enough that you can take action, problem solve, come up with a plan, and do. Now we're looking at your defense system and your proof of concept. I talk a lot about the defense system, about how the defense system is all about the boundaries, but really it's also about action. Your defense system is about taking action. It's about putting things in place. It's about desiring something, that's identity, wanting to go, let's say you want to move to Los Angeles, that's your identity. And it's your defense system saying, great, how are we going to get there? But the fear system is going, oh my God, it's too scary. Shut up. You need to be gentle with your fear system. So you soothe your fear system. You tell your fear system that it's okay. But your defense system needs to step in and make a plan. Your defense system needs to come in and sit down and decide what's going to take place, how's it going to take place, where it's all going to go. Emotions like anger, frustration, this is all your defense system. So when you feel anger, it's because you need to come up with a plan and take action. When you feel frustration, it's because someone is threatening your system. When you are feeling annoyed or bothered, somebody is threatening your system. This is 100% your defense system communicating to you, saying, these are the emotions you're feeling. This system is under attack. And I have something called the circle of trust. I love it to pieces. It's on my website. And it shows you all the different levels of intimacy from stranger all the way up to your partner. And there's basically 5 levels. The first level is strangers. The second layer is colleagues. Colleagues, coworkers, they're still strangers, but you see them every day and you might know 5 things about them maybe, but those right there are strangers. These are not people you trust. And then you have level 3. Don't trust level 3s. Level 3s are the people you've selected from the stranger pool to determine if you want them in your circle of trust. There's 5 levels, but the circle of trust still has not started yet. With level 3, you want to start giving those people small vulnerabilities, gossips, information about you, things that can't hurt you, but you want to test them to see what they do with this information. So you give them that information and watch what they do. If they pass, great, they elevate to level 2. Do it for a while. Make sure they sit in level 3 for 3 months or more. Me personally, I keep them there for 3 months to a year before I allow them to go on to level 2. Now, once you get into level 2, now they're in the circle of trust. Now you can start trusting them. Now, here's 3 primary qualities I look for. The first one is they don't get to level 2, period, unless they never trigger your boundaries. If you never have to use your boundaries on them, they're pretty safe. If they pass all of your vulnerability tests, you're pretty good. You're set. I can't remember the other one. There is a third one, and I can't remember it right now. But once you realize that they qualify, oh, that's it. They respect you. They actually celebrate who you are. So you don't have to wear a mask around them. And once they get to that level, they get into level 2, and now the trust begins. But that doesn't mean you immediately put them into your secure space, your genie bottle. It just means that now you trust them and now you can have a friendship with them. This is where friendship begins. A lot of dipshits in the world are over here at stranger land going, oh, we're friends. Oh, dude, you have not passed any of the tests. That's a red flag. If someone says to you that they are friends and they haven't done any of the work, you haven't been able to test them, you've only known them for 20 minutes, they're not your friend. They are a narcissist looking to leech on to the next victim. The word friend is a huge red flag in my world. So you've got your system here. Your emotions are fantastic clues to tell you which part all of these, like what needs to be done, what maintenance you need to do. Your fear system tells you to soothe. Your subconscious mind, that's actually logical fallacy. There's no emotions out of the subconscious mind. There's 0 emotions out of the actual subconscious mind. And if you feel pain or discomfort, that's because you've been outside of your comfort zone too long. You need to go back and be alone and soothe yourself. Intuition is the emotion of go, stop, stay, move. That is your heading. That's part of your navigational system. So when you are all healed and everything is awesome and you know who you are, it's your ego, your identity, and your intuition pretty much doing all the navigation. You are constantly plugged into these 3 people, you deciding where everyone goes, and your identity and your intuition. She's going, I want, and intuition is going over here, do this. And that is how you navigate through life. I call that your self-sailing system because it's very self-sailing. It's very self-sufficient. And your defense system will pop up every now and then if you are around people who are not good for you. Make sure you limit who has access to you. And then your fear system should stay quiet and subdued at all times without a problem, which is why we're coming back to obsession. Why do we obsess? It tells me right away that if you're feeling obsessive, if you're having constant, you can't stop thinking about it. Why? It's like there's a logic loop. It's a fear. For me, it's a fear. Like, I'm thinking about this all the fucking time because I'm afraid if I don't, then what? I love if-then statements. If-then statements are in logic. They are located in philosophy. If X, then Y. And they are the core of figuring out your mental shit, especially your cognitive core, your logical fallacies, your fears. So always ask yourself, if blank happens, then what? So if I don't obsess about person Y, then what would happen? And I can't figure that out. Obsession, it feels like vigilance. It really feels like heightened vigilance. Vigilance, it's like I'm on alert to save him. It feels like I'm on call, always checking the clock to determine if he needs me. Yeah, this is the narcissism, 100%. And there's a logic loop that's keeping it in place, preserving it, protecting it. So I have a logical fallacy, and that's what I'm doing right now is I'm looking for the logical fallacy that is there on a loop on purpose that's keeping the last of this narcissism in place. What if he needs me? And I can't protect him? Now, if I were to turn this over to narcissism, it is the save him. That would be the superhero. Stage 1 of narcissism. This is tied into my values. I can feel it. There's something, it's as if the narcissist went into my brain and used my values as a weapon against me. This is old. This is so fucking old. The cats. By the time I was 12, I had buried over 60 cats. I couldn't save them. Animal abuse was fucking horrific in my home. Fucking horrific. I will not go into details. That being said, yeah, by the time I was 12, I had buried over 60 cats. And I couldn't save them. I couldn't save myself. No, this is something about my honor. I am very honor bound. My honor and I are like this. Honor bound is, a lot of people struggle with honor bound because it's honor. Honor is how well you live up to your values and your ethics. Yeah, this is very much a value and an ethic that's been compromised, which is why it's so hard to get rid of. So you have, in your cognitive core, you have 5 chambers. You have your identity, and then you have your values and your ethics. This is your logical health. And then you have a third piece here called your belief system. Your belief system is not a system. It's just your fucking beliefs. It's just your beliefs. Your beliefs for the healthiest life should be viable and flexible. Pain happens when these become fixed. Growth stops when these become fixed. Prejudice happens when these become fixed. Like, I cannot tell you how toxic fixed beliefs are. When you learn to embrace and have viable and very flexible beliefs, a lot of your bullshit goes away. And then you've got your naming and you've got your perspective. The naming and the perspective is your story health. So focusing on your logical health, that's what we're looking at. It's your identity. Your identity is who you are, what your qualities are, what resources you have, and what you value. Now, of everything in my life, my honor and my values are like, they are top. They are the thing. There is nothing to me more important than honor. Now, a lot of people, and this is interesting, a lot of people, and I'm speaking specifically about the Asian cultures here, associate honor with respecting and living aligned to the family's ethics. You see what they've done there. They have said to their children, generation after generation, your priority needs to be the family ethics. And then they abuse, guilt, shame their children to ensure that this is passed on generation to generation. What happens in this example is honor is actually intertwined with shame, which is the whole, you have disgraced the family. That is actually shame. It is not guilt. And then a person feels disowned for not living up to the expectations of their family. This is not honor. This is narcissistic abuse. This is, you have an expectation that somebody else has put on you. You are required to live up to it. You will be shamed and mortified if you don't, and then you will be disowned. This is really, really abusive. And then the word honor is used as a weapon against the children. rinse and repeat for multiple generations. Now, in the Viking culture, honor was a big deal. Honor was warrior based. Honor is when it's when you live aligned to your values and your ethics. You have to first define your values and your ethics. And then you have to make sure that your actions and your behavior align to your values. This is a really big fucking deal. I mean, this is really fucking important. Really important. If you don't do this, an emotion will emerge from this, and that emotion is guilt. Guilt is only ever self-inflicted. It is never from a third party. Shame is always self-inflicted from a third party. If there's anything in your head that somebody has said to you, that's shame. It's not guilt. Guilt is private. It's personal. Only you know when you have violated your ethics. And we see this with, let's say you're a pacifist and you become violent. You're going to feel guilt because your action has contradicted your ethic. This is really fucking important for your mental health. This is one of my favorite examples because it's so vivid. I am a vegetarian. I have been a vegetarian since I was 4 years old. By the time I was 8, and I made a comment really loudly and obtusely that eating animals is wrong. I was abused so horribly that I ended up with multiple personality disorder literally the next day, and I had forgotten that I was a vegetarian because my subconscious mind crammed my beautiful body and put me in the 4th level of the subconscious mind, and then wiped my entire memory of the fact that I was a vegetarian. But I was still a vegetarian. The ethic was still there. Even though I couldn't remember it, the ethic was still there. And to ensure I learned the lesson well, my father made me cut up meat, hunt meat, and eat meat for the rest of my life. And then I ended up with husbands who are all pro hunting and ram it down your throat. And God forbid you have a problem with this. That all being said, I got to this point where the guilt followed me for the rest of my life, from literally the time I was 8 years old on up, because the action of eating meat, even if I didn't choose it, even if I didn't remember it, it was still contradicting my values. This is really fucking powerful shit. Like, amazingly so. It's extraordinary how powerful this is, because in this action, the very next day, I ended up with severe nightmares, the same fucking nightmare that I had every fucking day of my life for 40 years. In addition to that, I also had severe body and stomach pains every time I ate meat. It was as if me at the 4th level of the subconscious mind and my identity was trying to tell my body, hey, you're a vegetarian, you should not be doing this. This is how fucking powerful guilt is. No one on the outside was telling me this. Believe me, the opposite. Everybody on the outside was forcing me to eat the meat, but it was personal. It was an internal struggle. I was doing an action that violated what I believed, my values. And that contradiction causes significant internal conflict. It literally is a civil war. I cannot emphasize to you enough that when you are not aligned with the 6 parts of your mental system, you are at civil war. This is a union divided. You must be united. You want to know what mental health is? It's civil war, because you've got 6 parts of yourself and you're divided. Bottom line, that's what all of this is about, is because we are not aware of the divide, because we've had to force ourselves, abuse ourselves, cut pieces of ourselves off to accommodate other people and other expectations. We are killing another part of ourselves to make room for the wishes, desires, expectations, stories of others that we then put inside of our minds. So back to obsession. This is very much value-based. It's definitely the soldier in me on watch 24/7, ready to drop the world and be there if he needs me. And it's constant. It's this constant vigilance. So to remove it, I'm going to have to find a logical fallacy that allows me to rest. But I don't even know if there's a logical fallacy. And there is a belief. And so again, we're back to there is a belief. There is a logical fallacy that is inside my head that is guaranteeing I will not fail at this mission. And that's it. There is something in my brain saying that I cannot fail at this mission. It's my promise. Ugh, fuck. I'm Scottish. Ah, fuck. It's my promise. I'm honor bound. Oh, fuck, damn. No, I'm Scottish. Scots don't make promises because when they make promises, they keep their promises. I made a promise that I would do this. And so my brain, to ensure it gets done, has put it inside of me. I have to release my promise. It's literally a lot like Harry Potter's like secret keeper bullshit thing of not secret keeper, but it's being honor bound. It is fucking powerful. Because when you make a promise, you don't fucking make a promise. I am so anti promises that because they are so they honor me. They put me in such a strong honor bound that when I got married, I didn't give marriage vows. That's like the level. I'm like my second husband. I'm like I will not do those because I did not want to be honor bound to vows because vows would have locked me for life, no matter how well. I have one clause. I have one footnote that saves me, but it has to get fucking bad for me to break a vow. I don't know how to. I'm going to have to like spend a lot of meditation. Let's meditate. Let's just go ahead and meditate because I could stare at this for hours and I think I need to go totally isolation to figure this one out, to find the logic. It's like a chess game. All right, deep breath in and out. Just do some free form breathing for a minute. A lot of people are not sure what to do when they meditate, what they're looking for. Deep breath in. Meditation is all about having a conversation with yourself. There are body scans where you search your body over for discomfort, shadows that tell you where you have work to do. When you are mentally healed, centered, aligned, and stable, there is absolutely nothing bothering you. You feel lighter than a feather, and you just feel the energy shifting and moving right through you like a river. Your subconscious mind is open to you, bearing all of its secrets without any resistance. There is no resistance. In physics, when there is energy that is resistant, it is the disruption of the energy flow on a conduit. Go inward and imagine who it is you want to be in your full glory. If you are in a safe place and you want everything you ever could have with full and total acceptance, who would you be? What would you look like? And go all out, embrace the fantasy if you want. Give yourself whatever fantasy you want. Urgency is a sign of trauma. Restlessness is due to the feeling of needing to constantly go. Not being able to sit in silence is part of the trauma. By consciously problem solving and saying to the mind, nope, we're going to sit in silence and you are going to be still. Your trauma mind and your fear system is going to resist if you are not used to this. It's like you have to become it's not like, you do have to become the authority in your own mind. Ooh, that's a really good thing to say. You have to become the own authority in your own mind to pull this shit off. The first authority begins internally. That's really what you are doing when you meditate, is you are claiming and becoming your own authority over the 6 parts of your mental self. It is the stern, intense, assertive, and gentle kindness of you saying to your system, we're going to be making changes, people. It's taking leadership of your internal self. This is really fucking big. It's taking leadership of the 6 people inside of you. By claiming that leadership, you are taking authority, and it's taking charge of your mental health. That's what meditation does. But you have to do so consciously. It's you becoming the master of your own mind. It's really fucking awesome. Deep breath in. So meditation consists of body scans, assessment, observation, discipline, authority. It's the decision that you're going to slow down. And when the people in your head don't listen, you're going to exercise gentle patience and try again. Okay, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Down. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. In. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Out. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. In. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Out. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. In. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Out. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Deep breath in. Yeah, it's the first authority. It is very much you deciding, okay, we're going to get this shit taken care of. It's you sitting down with your mind deciding you're going to start organizing this and leading everybody. And they want to lead. They want to follow you. It's amazing. When you start exercising your authority over the 6 parts, there is such a calm because they want it. Identity wants to go play in the adventure zone and define herself. Intuition wants to tell you when you should and shouldn't do things to help you stay safe. The fear system wants to be soothed, absolutely wants to be calmed. The subconscious mind does not want to run the show. It wants to just make sure that the cognitive core processing is done properly. And when you start to really navigate and manage your system, you're going to feel your real true potential come out. This is the first authority. It is you defining this with yourself. The self comes down to knowing what you want, then doing what you want, and then becoming what you are. We begin with our qualities, And this is where we're going to start our gratitude journal. Go ahead and you should have a notebook and a pen. I'm going to go ahead and do about 5 minutes more of breathing. If you want to go grab a journal, pen, all that jazz, and we'll go ahead and start journaling here in a moment. Make sure it's pen and paper, not keyboard clicking. It has to be pen and paper. There's a reason why. And I'm going to go ahead and pull up the agenda. I have a full exercise on my website. And if you want to follow along, if you want to see what this looks like, it's on my website. It's at anashealinggarden.org. If you click on the slideshow, I have a slide that says the healing exercises. You can just click right on healing exercises, and this opens it right up. For daily gratitude journal, we're going to do about 10 minutes. I changed my mind. Apparently, we're not going to be doing 5 minutes of breathing prior to this. We're just going to go ahead and jump right into the gratitude journaling, but go ahead and pause the video if you need to. And we are looking at you are. Make sure you use the phrase you are. This will lock into your mimic mirror repetition learning response of your brain. It is much more effective, neuroscience said so, than I am statements. So you are grateful for. And then write down, we're going to do about 5 to 10 minutes of what you are grateful for. You are grateful for. And while we do this, keep mindfully breathing. Your qualities are your resources. So when you think about what resources you have, what qualities you have, for instance, I am resilient. So you are grateful for resilience. Resilience is a resource. That is a tool you can use to get you what you need. Your qualities are your resources. You are grateful for. And you really want to focus on the emotion gratitude here. The emotion gratitude is one of the 4 steps of human connection. The reason why we write it down with a pen is because that opens up the neural waves in our brain to create new memory inside of our brain. So says my neuroscientist friend. When you type it, it does not do the same thing. You have to write it out with your hand. So you're actually creating new neural pathways in your brain when you write pen to paper. I do a lot of research with neuroscience in my healing that is absolutely proven and backed to ensure the best, the most optimal type of healing. You are grateful for. You know what I'm really grateful for? My ability to build societies. I love building societies. I'm really happy about that part of me. My society building skills. Discipline is a beautiful thing to be grateful for. Love my discipline. And these are things you are grateful for that you want, but you might not have yet. Absolutely do that, because now you're manifesting. So if you are grateful for, let's say you wish you were more just or compassionate, even though you may not feel like you are, write down that you are grateful for it. And it will start to, oh, you're grateful, you're compassionate. If you want to pause in the middle of this and take a couple deep breaths for yourself, I strongly encourage you to do so. And these could be any of your skills. Being grateful for your skills is huge. It allows you to count your resources and inventory what you actually do have at your disposal. We're going to go ahead and switch over to positive affirmations now. Think about the qualities you do want in yourself. You are, and then select the positive affirmation you want. This is a fantastic tool to start cultivating your mind into what it is you want for yourself. There's an emotion I've been trying to figure out for a while now, and I can't put my finger on it. It's like the opposite of condescending. Respectful. That's the only word. Interesting. right, I'm going to go ahead and read you the positive affirmations. You are free. And please keep writing or meditate while I do these, whichever is your choice, whatever you are most comfortable with. You are free. You have free will. You choose for yourself. You are your own authority. You claim your authority. You claim your power to change. You belong. You have you. You protect you. You take care of your own needs. You self-regulate and self-soothe yourself. You are resourceful. You have all that you need and your resources are abundant. You are home. You choose good people for you. You accept you. You are safe to talk and be heard. You are safe to choose. You are safe to love yourself. You care and value yourself and others without gain or profit. Love is valuing others without gain or profit. You are love. You love you. You trust you. You are safe to come out of hiding now. You are safe to remember who you are. You are safe to be seen. You are safe to be heard. You are safe to create. You are safe to grow. You are safe to change. You are safe to imagine. You are safe to trust the right people. You defend yourself. You know who you are. You know your story. You know your value. You are equal to all others. You problem solve through your fears. Your opinion is as valuable as all others. You know your name. You know what you are. You know your truth. You self-govern. You are resourceful. You are accountable. You trust yourself. You trust others. You accept your own limitations. You ask for help. You comfort and reassure yourself. You rely on yourself. You are valuable. You are worthy. You release all that does not align to your truth. You trust your logical deduction. You know who you are. You know your truth. You trust your logical deduction to decide for yourself. You choose to trust the right people for you. You are strong enough to release judgment, fear, and hoarding of your resources. The way positive affirmations work is you are basically using classical conditioning, a type of brainwashing, to feed your subconscious mind new material, new messages, so that it will process them and alter your behavior accordingly. With the amount of negativity that we receive on a day-to-day basis, especially from ourselves, positive affirmations is a phenomenal way to override that and redirect the negative current into positive current. To pull that off, the you are, that mimic mirror repetition response. Not children, not infants, not toddlers. Human people of all ages have something inside of their minds called the mimic mirror repetition response. Mimic mirror is 100% how all of us learn, always, no matter what. This is your basic mammal learning response. If you are a mammal, you learn this way. And all of the other things that we see or hear about, whether it be uploading information or writing things down, listening. This is not what I'm talking about. Those are learning styles. That is not what I am referring to. A learning style is one or two of the mimic mirror repetition response. The mimic mirror repetition response is our primordial learning center. So it's the mimic mirror repetition response is here. And then there's all this psychological garbage nonsense of the learning style. And most people require 2 to 3 different types of learning in order to understand something. The reason why is because we're not accessing our mimic mirror repetition response. And once you understand how the mimic mirror repetition response, the learning styles become obsolete because it's garbage. Mimic mirror repetition response is literally like 500 times to the power of a learning style, which is why so many people struggle with learning. Once you understand how the mimic mirror repetition response goes, it's why we learn like this. This is why children learn so fast. It's because children have not yet been broken down to not have that mimic mirror repetition response. Words that we use to break this learning style is do as I say, not as I do. This absolutely damages the mimic mirror repetition response inside of our minds. The problem is, because we are unaware of it, no one's using it really. To use this, what you need is an example or a role model. And we usually have role models when, well, we all are born with a role model. That's our caregiver. So the very first role model usually is our mother or our father. And this is where all of the trauma occurs, is because if your mother and your father do not have resolved trauma and are healthy, you're going to mimic mirror repetition response their behavior. So if you have a father who is an alcoholic, then you're going to see that behavior. If you have a mother who is narcissistic, you're going to repeat that behavior. And that is what we end up with, something called a dry drunk. It's when you end up behaving like somebody with the mental disorder when you never actually experienced the trauma. I watched my children develop PTSD without any trauma because of the mimic mirror repetition response. It's extraordinarily powerful. So the first thing you need to do is basically choose a role model. The ideal role model is, first of all, choosing what you love, knowing what you love, choosing what qualities you want in yourself, and then choosing what you value, what you ethically believe is good or bad. And then one of two things. Find somebody, Gandhi, Mother Teresa, for example. What is his name? Move like a butterfly, sting like a bee. You know who I'm talking about, the boxer. Another one, Martin Luther King Jr. Pick somebody who you can have as a role model, and then put them in your U of I. That's basically, you have yourself, and then you have your role model, which is the U of I, and then you have your community. The role model is so vital to your learning so that you can start comparing. And this is why we compare. This comparison that we all are obsessed with, and people are going around saying you shouldn't compare. Actually, that is the mimic mirror repetition response. How you use comparison as a tool is good or it's bad. It's going to hurt you or it's going to build you up. But a lot of really uneducated people are walking around saying you shouldn't use comparison at all. No, you should be using comparison the right way, because comparison is your mimic mirror repetition response. To use it the right way, what you want to do is, you have your behavior. Let's take who you are right now, X. X is your current self. You want to be Y. Y is your ideal or future self. You are going to compare X to Y. That's it. You should not be comparing yourself to your brother who your mother says you should be more like. You don't do that. That's bad comparison. That's toxic comparison. And we're going to clarify, there is toxic comparison and then there is healthy comparison. Healthy comparison is when you consciously have a role model to activate your mimic mirror repetition response. If you have, let's say Michael Phelps. Michael Phelps is a phenomenal role model. if you want to be a swimmer. Michael Phelps, if you don't know, is like a 5-time Olympic winner for swimming. So let's say you want to get really good at swimming. So you, the self, would be X, and Michael Phelps would be Y. So as you live morally, ethically, diligent to your ability, you do want to model yourself after Michael Phelps. Copy his routine, copy his exercise. You want to make sure you're doing the same dedication as say, this is phenomenal. Athletes do this all the time. Now, the flip side of all of this is also making sure that you have, well, actually not Y, future self, it would be Z. Let's say that Michael Phelps, the role model, would be Z. So you have your self X, your future self Y, and then your role model Z. Now, to measure your progress, you're going to want to keep going back and comparing yourself, and this is big, to monitor your progress. Don't compare yourself to Michael Phelps. Compare yourself to your past self. This is where comparison is so advantageous. So you have X, and then the next day you have X plus 2. The next day after that, you have X plus 5. So now you're at X plus 5. You want to compare? Compare to where you started. Compare yourself to the X. So you're comparing yourself, past self, where you started. It's like losing weight. It's exactly like losing weight. Let's say your starting weight was 260 pounds, and you want to be at 110 pounds. You're not going to compare, and this, we all do this. This is actually proper comparison. As you lose weight, you compare that number to the original number of 260. Myself, I used to weigh 170 pounds. Now I weigh 95 pounds. So when I do this comparison, I look at where I started and where I am now. There is no one else coming into this equation. There is no more, oh, what's the BMI supposed to be? I look at me now and me where I was. This is healthy comparison. People outside the world, people in Wonderland, they do a lot of, you shouldn't compare. No, you should compare wisely. Doing toxic comparison is the problem. Don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. And that's their mentality. You want to use comparison with your mimic, mirror, repetition response to your advantage. So have an ideal self. Put yourself together, love, qualities, your values, your ethics. Paint the picture of your perfect self, your ideal, who you want to be. That is your why. That is your goal. Have a role model to mimic. For my writing, I use Brandon Sanderson. That man is a fucking writing machine. It's insane. He's got like 5 projects at all times going on. He's writing 5 books at the same time, and he's been doing this for years. And he writes like 30,000 words every day. Most writers get maybe 500 in. I'm on average about 2,000 words a day. And Brandon Sanderson is like this ridiculous vomitous machine of words where he gets out 30,000 words with his 5 words. So there's my role model. When it comes to my writing career, I use Brandon Sanderson as my role model. And I look at his writing schedule. I copy his writing schedule. I look at him and I go, okay, what are you doing that I'm not doing? Now, it's not going to be precise because I am not Brandon Sanderson, but it's a nice blueprint. So the role model is literally your blueprint. It's not precise. You don't want to be the exact copy. You can't be, but you do want to use this role model as your blueprint. And your ideal is not to become Michael Phelps or Brandon Sanderson. Your goal is to become your future self. When you compare where you are to where you started. That's healthy comparison. Now, the mimic, mirror, repetition response comes in with your role model, where you're going to watch their behavior. You're going to witness their behavior. Tony Robbins is another example of my role model. I'm undecided on some of his ethics, but as far as how he does public speaking, I'm all over that shit. So I listen. I listen to Tony Robbins. I have him around on my tech often so that I get that feed into my subconscious mind. Every time we choose what goes into our feed, every time we choose what we surround ourselves with, we are cherry picking what our role models, what our influences are going to be. And that is activating our mimic, mirror, repetition response. You want to be more funny? Yes, actually I do. Hold on a minute. I want to be more funny. This is important to me because I'm working on humor right now. I want to be more funny. So I'm going to make sure that I go out of my way to surround myself with people whose humor is more like mine so that I learn better humor. Humor is a skill that can be taught. It is, I know this. And I'm going to use my mimic, mirror, repetition response to become more funny. So I surround myself with funny role models, with role models whose humor is what I want to be like. So with enough exposure, my mimic, mirror, repetition response will kick in and pick it up. Now, I don't have to literally sit down and read a book. Now we're getting into learning styles. Sitting down and reading the book, or listening to the book, or watching a YouTube video. This is now your learning style. Now you're getting into all of these things. But it's the concept, it's the consciousness of saying, I want to be like this person. This person, for me, it was Abigail Adams. I wanted to be so much like Abigail Adams. The woman was smart, she was articulate, and she was a pacifist. I loved everything about Abigail Adams. So I put her in the spot of my role model when I was a child. So that it was very much a what would Jesus do? It's that WWJD thing. It's that. Oh my God, it's that. What would my superhero do? And that's really, wow, superhero now screams narcissism to me. Interesting. Very interesting, fascinating. So when you choose your role model, you are literally choosing your what would this person do? And when you're doing it consciously, you are plugging in this mimic, mirror, repetition response. Now couple it with your learning style. Oh, you're going to see, it's amazing how fucking powerful this is. We think that this is something that only toddlers do. And that's not true. This is human being. This is mammals in general. It's extraordinary. Cats do this. This is why cats, if you have a cat, this is where cats will try and open the door with their paws because they see you trying to open the door with your hand. So cats will mimic that because they've processed through mimic, mirror, repetition response. This is how mammals learn. It's fucking amazing. It's absolutely extraordinary. There's this one dog on YouTube who's caught on that people use paper money to pay for coffee and treats in a pastry bakery shop. So the dog will go out, true story, and find leaves. And he will bring them back to the shop and he pays in leaves. And so they give him like dog biscuits every day. And the dog comes in with his leaf every day, gives them a leaf. They take the leaf and they give him a dog biscuit. Mimic, mirror, repetition, response. It's fucking awesome. And once you're aware of it and you start to use this to your advantage, wow, your learning is going to explode. It's extraordinary. Now, couple tricks. I'm going to show you a few more things. To do this efficiently, like if you really want to kick up your learning skills, the other thing you're going to want to plug into this beautiful mimic, mirror, repetition response is an open mind. Open your mind. Abandon prejudice. And prejudice is 100% fear. And it is coming from a fear of the unknown, which is a fear of you not knowing who you are in a certain dangerous scenario. Danger means I don't know who I am and I don't know if I have the tools to survive this. I don't know if I can save myself. This is what prejudice to unknown to fear is. So open your mind. And if you come into any problems with fear, that tells you why and what you need to do. Open your mind. The next thing is be quiet. You cannot, this whole concept of multitasking is garbage. There's a whole lot of people who, well, to be blunt, I will get right down to this. So the psychology of multitasking, it's bullshit and it's a trauma response. If you are boasting that you have the ability to multitask, you have trauma that you are not, good God, that's such denial. Multitasking is not a boasting skill. Multitasking is a trauma response that people use to hide the fact that they've got some serious trauma issues that they don't want to address. Multitasking is all trauma. According to neuroscience, multitasking is unproductive, toxic, dangerous to the psychology of your mind. Stop doing it. When you multitask, you are actually nurturing toxic mental health. Oh, I love that. Toxic mental health. Oh, I'm so using that from now on. Multitasking is toxic mental health that our society glorifies. And the people who go, oh, I can multitask, I'm an exception. No, you are a fifth perspective who's in some significant denial, who's not taking any accountability for your trauma. Sorry, not sorry. Multitasking is not a badge of honor. It is trauma. Multitasking is toxic. That being said, be quiet. Close your mouth, open your mind, ask questions. I cannot tell you how much curiosity is absolutely key to this. Become curious. Curiosity is 100% imagination. If you do not have imagination, curiosity is going to be stunted if you have it at all. Imagination is literally the fuel of curiosity. Curiosity is what leads to questions. It's inquisitiveness, and it's how we learn. You take away imagination, and you stop learning. Art is the only thing that fuels imagination. This is why Plato in the University of Alexandria had over 9 subjects that did nothing but fuel imagination. He had more imagination and creativity art-based programs than he did sciences, because you're not going to be curious. You're not going to learn if you don't have imagination. So art, you want to know why art is so important? This is why. Because art fuels and creates and nurtures your imagination, which gives you curiosity. So you can ask questions, so you can learn. So art equals learning. Really fucking important tool. That's pretty much it. Open your mind, abandon prejudice, be quiet, ask questions, listen to learn. Now, I'm going to talk about ADHD for a minute. A lot of people are like, I have ADHD. I don't know how to listen. Listening for ADHD people, I get it. I absolutely get it. You have my sympathy. I have been rounds with my daughter on this. I absolutely understand this problem. I will forget what I was going to ask you if I don't interrupt to say what I need to say. How can I listen to learn and also ask the questions? ADHD is linked to trauma. Everyone with ADHD has PTSD. Not everyone with PTSD has ADHD. ADHD is from shrinking. I'm actually working with 2 people right now on curing ADHD. I have an idea on how to reverse it. It's basically physics. It's literally when physics, you basically take your energy, and because you're shrinking so much from the trauma, you take all of your energy from the outside and you condense it until you have this tight neuron ball of energy. And that's why you shake. It's because you have condensed energy inside of you. That's ADHD. So I'm currently working on, an artist actually has a program. I have 2 people who I'm working with right now to reverse ADHD. And then I'm going to be taking it over to my neuroscience friend to talk to him more about it. So we're working on it. That being said, my best advice for you, if you have ADHD and you struggle with learning, practice slowing down and opening up. Really practice slowing down and opening up. Do your best. And if you have a question, you want to ask that because your ADHD is going, oh, I'm going to forget it. That's a trauma response right there. The urgency to get something out because you don't trust that you're going to forget it. First of all, this is going to be a really hard, cold blow for a lot of people. The reason why you're forgetting is not your ADHD. You are forgetting because you have trauma amnesia, because it's a trauma response. And you associate, to whom this may apply you associate, oh, if I don't do it now, I'm going to forget, with urgency. And the urgency is also a trauma response. Urgency and amnesia are trauma responses. They have nothing at all to do with ADHD. Zero. They have everything to do with a traumatized subconscious mind. So if you don't have ADHD, and if I was just working with somebody who I noticed has amnesia and urgency, I would say, well, you need to soothe your fear system and you need to slow down. And really, that's it, because your urgency is a trigger for the anxiety. That's big. Yeah. I think ADHD, yeah. See, the more I look into ADHD it really is trauma. Slow down. Don't force yourself to, don't try and race your brain to remember. It's okay if you forget. It's not, and if you need to go back, and here's the thing, there are ladder learning. Ladder learning is having all the steps. Oh, this is big. This is the other aspect of learning, how to learn. The words easy and hard. Easy means you're learning in the right order. You are doing it in order. It's organized. Easy means organized. Hard means unorganized. Or you're doing something not meant for you. So if something is hard, it's because you're either doing it out of order or it's not meant for you. If it's easy, it's because it's organized. So if something is hard for you, it's not because you have ADHD. It's because you're missing information. So you're learning, you're absorbing information. While you're absorbing information, you might get to a point where you have a question you don't understand. That's okay. No urgency. That's when you stop, raise your hand, you pause, you say, hold on a minute. I don't understand. Now, that's okay. We are going to go back to the beginning and we're going to go over the steps of ladder learning to determine where it is there was a misunderstanding. Because there's information along this ladder learning. Now, an effective teacher will know, oh, you're confused. Let's go back to square one and let's recount all the steps in the ladder. This is fantastic with math. Math is such a great example of this because we'll be learning and then we'll get to a point of calculus where we'll go, wait, I don't understand. That's because you've missed or you don't fully integrate one of these previous steps. It means the teacher's bad. So you have to go back and figure out where in the steps of ladder learning to build your proper foundation that you aren't getting it. So that's really it. You're a competent teacher, a proper teacher will catch this, know this, understand it, take you back to the beginning and review all the steps. Did you get this? Did you get this? No, did you get this? Locate. And I would rate it like on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being, oh, you fucking get it. 10, I got that. 10, oh, this is a little shady. Well, there's the confusion. That's why this is difficult, is because you're lacking this. Math, it's easy. So anytime you are learning anything, this concept of, oh my God, I have to get this question out or else, that's 100% your trauma speaking. Do not feel that you have to immediately get something else or else there's no race. And that urgency is triggering anxiety, which is triggering more trauma. Slow down and let yourself forget. To handle amnesia, soothe your fear system. Your subconscious mind has taken that information from you because it's trying to protect you. It is saying, oh, you can't hear this. Oh, you can't know this. Or it's calm the subconscious mind, calm your fear system. So that's a huge, if you are forgetting, slow down, take a deep breath, do a little bit of meditation. And I know with ADHD, you're rattling already and it's hard. I know it's because you are going against all of your trauma training. And once you slow down, once you become authoritative over that mental system, hey, you know what? I'm in charge now. And we're going to slow down. And believe me, it's a hard world because the world is running at 8 million, because the world is a trauma world. Wow, that's really big. That's really big fucking, yeah. The world is a trauma world. So slowing down in a trauma world is going to be jarring. It's why you need your genie bottle. It's so you can remove yourself from trauma world. You know what? I'm going to keep that. That is no longer Wonderland. It's trauma world. I don't live in trauma world. I love that. Wonderland is hereby deemed trauma world. There. I don't live in trauma world anymore. People live in trauma world. I don't. How to remove yourself from trauma world 101. Put yourself in a genie bottle. When you get home, you're out of trauma world. Slow down, because urgency is the very first thing that incites trauma, because they want to get you, the abuser wants you thinking so fast that you don't catch what they're doing. I'm going to say that again because that's it. A narcissist and or an abuser wants to rush you so fast that you don't have time to think. And some of us have been abused so much that we are used to being rushed because they don't want you to think. Because if you think, you'll figure out what they're doing. So don't think. Keep running. Just keep doing. Just keep going faster, faster, faster. No. It's one of my hardcore rules is whenever I do anything with any, especially money. Oh, you got to pay now. You got to do it right now. No, I don't. I'm going to take 3 days to think about it. Oh, that's like the salesman's death. They don't want to hear that you're going to think about it because they want to make a sale because they've bullied you every time. That is your red flag that somebody is manipulating you, is if they are urgent. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it here. This was really like a lot of material to cover. So thank you so much for being my audience, and may the kindest of words always find you.